Hello and welcome to Hunter Fuel, a supernatural rewatch podcast for adults who enjoy their show with a chaser. I'm Liz,
And I'm Lynn.
and we are excited to be back after the winter hiatus. I should say, we hope that
Mhm.
you had a wonderful and safe holiday season. We didn't, but we very much hope that you did. Thanks so much for joining us for season two, episode eight, Crossroad Blues. We model responsible drunkenness here. All participants are way over 21. No one is pregnant. No one will be driving, handling weapons, operating heavy machinery, or burying dead cats at crossroads. If you're playing along with us, those are the rules. If you decide not to follow them and you do something stupid, don't blame us. Lynn, what are you drinking this evening?
One of see if I can do this without spilling it, which today is,
That is very full.
yes, well, that's because I stuck the whole can in one glass. So
What
I
did you
was like,
do?
it's one of those one of those vodka cranberry thingamawitchies
Oh,
from our,
the hard seltzers.
yeah, yes, one from from our favorite
Dis
distillery
Distillery.
thingy.
Yeah, yeah. All right.
Yes.
Well, you're gonna have to drink some of that before you spill it.
Yes.
Uh, uh, the featured cocktail this episode is, you're not gonna believe this. It's called a Crossroad Blues, and it is 1 3/4 ounce whiskey, uh,
Ooh.
one, all right, I cheated a little bit because my shot glass doesn't have third markings on it. It calls for a third of an ounce of triple sec. I might have had a skosh closer to a half. 1/2 of an ounce of apple cider vinegar and 4 dashes of black pepper bitters. This one's going to be
Okay, and now
interesting.
I'm like, ooh, ooh,
E oh,
yeah, I'm like,
whiskey triple sec. Yay!
yay,
Apple cider vinegar and bitters. Oh,
ooh, yeah, exactly.
Wizard Dave, can you bring up our Supernatural game cards for us, please? Um, yeah, let me say this. This is a very boozy episode, so we've got a decent chance. Um, I don't know that my particular card is all that great, but we're going to have lot of opportunity.
Yeah, I'm jokingly saying my brain is not really braining tonight. So, I just rewatched it and did a bunch of research on this episode, and I still couldn't tell you whether my card's good or not. Because
Well, that's okay. We're going to play and we're going to find out. So, as always, the first one is on the house.
woo,
So, cheers.
yum yum.
I wouldn't trade my soul for it in a crossroad deal, I'll tell you that. Um,
That face is not. That face is.
it's not my very favorite. And I don't think that this one's going to be a contender for best cocktail of the season.
Now, which is worse, that one or Asylum?
Well, we have retired Asylum
Oh, okay.
because I don't think we're going to find one that undrinkable ever again. Um, I'd have to go back and look. It has been a couple weeks since we recorded because of the holidays. Um, I'd have to go back and look. I feel like there was another one we had this season that was not great. But I'd have to go back and look. Um, but suddenly a little nervous about how boozy this episode.
I say you haven't had that face on. You haven't had that face for a long time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, well, here goes nothing. Uh, so if you're playing along with us, there is a link to generate a card of your own in the link tree. With that, let's get this show on the road. So our then segment gives us a lot about the demon deal that John made with the yellow-eyed demon back when everybody was in the hospital in the season opener. Um, and so, as an audience, we know that John traded his life for Dean's. At this point, it's something that the boys don't know for certain yet. We also get the Devil's Trap that Bobby taught the boys about in the season 1 finale. And we see Meg stuck in that Devil's Trap. So the episode starts in Greenwood, Mississippi in August 1938. So then is all the way back then. We've got a
Gotta
little
love those
Pierce.
hats.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, this is like the costumers really did a great job in this episode.
Mhm.
Back in the 1930s, they've got all the shoes and the dresses.
Oh,
So this actor is Lamond Bird. He had short runs on Mad Men and 911. We're going to learn later that this is Robert Johnson. We're going to find out who that was a little bit later, but for now, all we know is that this woman calls him Robert. So we just have a first name. When he was auditioning for the role, he taught himself to play some of Robert Johnson's music. But this particular song we're hearing right now is an original composition from Chris, yeah, Christopher Leonard's.
oh,
Um,
those
so
shadows are so cool.
Oh my goodness. So this director is Steve Boyum, and he did a fantastic job with this. We've got these great, this shot here with the
Oh, I
cigarette
love when the
dropping out of
cigarette
his
goes out
mouth.
of his mouth and bounces.
Oh my goodness, that's a
Oh,
great shot. Like there's some really beautiful camera work in here. Steve Boyum does a great job. This shot with the overhead fan spinning. Um, so he can see something, Lynn, you pointed out these shadows against the windows that the rest of the people in this bar here can't see. So we hear the snarling, he's looking around. Um, but it's invisible. Whatever it
yeah.
is, nobody can see it. Again, this great shot of the
Sorry.
guitar with Robert Johnson running away into the background. Um, uh, just some really beautiful work here with um, him with the chair under the door. He knows what it is, but he's trying to hide anyway.
I love how he drops to his knees.
Oh boy. Yeah, this is a great performance. He didn't have a lot to do in this episode, but his performance is really beautiful.
Hmm.
Um, and so yeah, he has with the word dogs, black dogs, he dies. Uh,
Hmm.
and again, this close up of the cross
The
hanging
craw.
around her neck. Um, so yeah, this is an interesting start to an episode of Supernatural, and it's not immediately clear. I could pause this because this is a wacky diner.
Yep.
And Dean is about to eat. So let's go ahead and look for both of those at the same time
Time.
here.
All
I
right.
do have a wacky diner,
So do
and I
I.
ooh, and I also have Dean eats or drinks. So I'm drinking for two here.
Let's say, I don't
Okay.
have. I
Oh
don't.
no.
And I forgot to get my free space earlier, so I'm gonna hit that
Mm,
one too because I'm a dork.
definitely
Uh,
get that.
yep. So I'm gonna. but I did have the wacky diner. So
Okay. Yeah, pick that up for
cheers.
yourself. Cheers. So, before we hit play, Eric Kripke was the one who insisted that these black dogs be invisible. That his argument was that um, you just couldn't, with the budget that they had and the time that they had, they just couldn't make them scary. And personally, I think he was absolutely right. We're gonna see some kind of cool stuff a little later in the episode.
Yes.
All right, hitting play. Uh, I love this little bit where
Yeah.
it got a dude, which I forgot to check for. We'll come back for dude in a moment. Um, but it's this fun scene where they're going through Dean's federal rap sheet. There, Dean eats. We already checked for
Yeah.
that one. And you can see that Sam is super jealous that Dean has a federal rap sheet and he doesn't.
Sam gets annoyed a lot in this episode, it feels like.
Yeah, we've got a resting Sam face in this episode.
Oh,
um, Go ahead.
no, I was. So many things are going through my head right now, so just don't mind me.
All right. Well, when you're ready, you can tease one of them out and let us know. So, Sam has found a case. We've got
Yeah.
lore, so we're gonna check our cards in a moment for a dude and a lore. Um, but he's talking about the case of an architect who claims he was seeing a black dog before he jumped off of the roof of his own building. This actor here, so the boys are in their suits. They're claiming to be from Architectural Digest. This actor is Alex Panovich, and he is going to appear twice more in future episodes of Supernatural as different characters. He had roles on TV shows like Snowpiercer, Hawkeye, and Van Helsing. I don't think that we can call this a meta moment because it hasn't happened as of the filming of this episode. But amusingly enough, both Jared and Jensen have had their houses featured in Architectural Digest. So if you haven't seen those already, you can look up those videos on YouTube and you can
Yeah.
see tours of their homes if you
Mm-hmm.
are so
Yep.
inclined. Um,
Which I have done.
so you know what? I will say this, like Jensen and his wife Danielle they're very artistic and they like supporting local artists.
Mm-hmm.
So their home in Austin, which I don't believe that they live in currently, but it had some really interesting features. So
Yeah.
um,
And
this
you can
guy, you know
definitely
what?
see in
I'm
that scene, though, sorry,
no, I'm
just
pausing this. Go ahead.
the jealousy in that guy of like
Yes.
that he was just like, yeah, the guy just got like brilliant overnight. And you could definitely
Yeah.
see he was not particularly celebrating that brilliance, but frustrated and annoyed tremendously
Yeah.
by that brilliance and the creativity.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree definitely. Um, while we have it paused, okay, so we are looking for a dude and a lore. And I,
And
of course, because my cocktail is awful, I have both of those.
and I don't think I have either.
No, because yours tastes good. Uh, well, and as of right now, I have three in a row. So go
Cheers.
me.
I say I couldn't let
Mm.
you drink alone.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for suffering with me. Um, okay. Okay.
I'm not laughing at you, I swear.
Go ahead. It's fine. Okay, so we're hitting play. Dean is coming out of the animal shelter. He has been looking for reports of black dogs.
What?
Um,
Hold on 1 second. I got knocked out.
oh no.
Oh,
All right. So Dean has been talking to uh, the lovely lady at the animal shelter. Her name is Carly. She's 23 and she kayaks, and they're real. So I don't really want to call it Dean checks out a woman because we don't see it on screen,
nope.
but he's being his usual self. So
I love this. You mean Carly's MySpace? What the hell is that?
so like a porn site.
Site. I
So
love this.
we do have a porn reference. So we're going to come back and check that in a minute. And he says, "Good afternoon, ma'am," and he pulls out an animal control. So I'm pausing this because now we've got two.
So yes,
So
and I do have the porn thing, so I'll
okay,
take
so we have porn and
and do
fake IDs.
I have a fake ID? And no, I don't.
All right, and strangely enough, I don't either, and I hope you will forgive me for letting you
Yes, I
alone.
will. I completely forgive you for that. Yum yum.
Okay, so they are following up on reports of hit play of demon dogs, or excuse me, dog sightings, scary dog sightings. And so now they're at the home of a doctor who has
Yes.
gone missing. They're speaking to her maid, and they're saying that the dog, or excuse me, the doctor has sort of packed up and gone missing. This picture
Yeah.
gets me because there's like okay, there's three women. They're out partying and
Yep.
Dean says they're 42, 43, right? That's kind of young for that position. And we've got an overnight
Oh, no.
success 10 years ago.
Yep.
So there's a pattern here. And they have it,
Eh,
the photo is marked Lloyd's Bar, 1996.
Which, of course,
Uh,
there is now a connection to Lloyd's bar, and we now see her cowering in her hotel room.
yeah, yeah. So this is a quirky motel room. We're going to come back and look for this in a moment. But yeah, this is our first reference to Lloyd's Bar, as you've said. And we have a similar scene here to what we saw with Robert Johnson in the room with the door locked and the doors kind of rattling.
Mhm.
But in this case, it's the super, and he says she owes him some money.
Yes.
Um, so she starts out paying him. We've got this really
Mm.
wacky, like gross, twisted face that he makes.
Yes.
We're not quite certain what that is yet. That's something that's going to come back later in the season.
Yes.
But here the boys are at Lloyd's bar, and there's this really beautiful um, overhead crane shot that we're going to get in a moment here. As the boys get out of the car and they realize, oh, Lloyd's has these yarrow flowers. Here's this crane shot.
John. Yes.
And so Lloyd's is at a crossroad. Um,
So
and
appropriately named. This episode is so appropriately named.
Yeah, you're not going to believe this, but an episode called Crossroad Blues has a little bar at a crossroad.
A
Um, so Dean starts to piece this together that
yeah.
yarrow flowers are used in summoning rituals um, at a crossroad. and that people start to become overnight successes 10 years
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
So he's standing in the dead center of the crossroad. He starts digging. And before too long, he hits metal. And I'm so very sad right now that we decided not to have Yahtzee on our bingo cards anymore because we have a Yahtzee and it makes my heart sad. So I do love when they say Yahtzee. But sure enough, they've got graveyard dirt, they've got black cat bones, and there's there's some other things in here that they say, yeah, this is for summoning a demon for the purpose of making a pact. And he says
Yeah.
they're actually making deals with the damn things because that always ends good.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
we've got just file that away. This is an
Yeah.
interesting position for Dean to be taking right at this moment.
Yep.
Uh,
And then, of course, Sam makes the comment of they're not just black dogs, they're demonic pit bulls.
yeah, they're hellhounds. Because there are supernatural dogs. There's a black shuck as an example. Um, so they don't realize until this moment that what people are seeing are hellhounds. Um, and again, here we've got the doctor back in her motel room, and the door is rattling, just like it was earlier with Robert Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
But they come through the window, and I think this is some amazing special effects here. Well, I shouldn't say special; they're practical effects. Like these are pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Where like her pants rip, you can see the claw marks in her leg,
Yeah.
and then she just gets pulled out of frame. So we're going to pause here on on this black screen because we are looking for a quirky motel room. Let's see here.
Which I don't think I have.
You know what? I don't appear to have one either. No. All right. Well, promising out of the gate, but yeah, we've hit a bit of a we've hit a bit of a lull with the cards. All right. So in that case, hitting play.
Mm-hmm.
Here we are back in 1930. So this is 8 years prior to what we saw in the cold open. I'm going to call this a summoning. So we're going to
Yeah.
have to go back to our cards in a few moments, and we will check. But this is Robert Johnson summoning a Crossroad demon, and the song that's playing right now is Crossroad Blues by Robert
Yeah.
Johnson. This
Oh,
actor is Christy Lang, who previously appeared as Laurie's roommate in Hookman. So this is her second and final appearance. We get red eyes for
yeah.
Crossroad Demons. So previously demons we've seen have black eyes. And he tells her he wants to be a guitar player. And he says, "Do we shake on it?" And she smiles and she kisses him. So here's where it's established that crossroad deals or demon deals are sealed with a kiss. So file that away. That's going to be important later too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, all right.
Yeah.
So she leaves. He's got his guitar on his back, and
Yeah.
he looks at it just as we hear Robert Johnson's lyrics standing at the crossroad. Um, so
Yeah.
here's where Dean is saying to Sam, like, no, this isn't a legend. This is all true. That
Yeah.
Robert Johnson, and these songs are all true. Everything Dean is saying right now is very true about Robert Johnson. And so this is the legend of Robert Johnson that he legitimately sold his soul at a crossroad deal. Now, if you're doing the math, demon
Yeah.
deals are 10 years. He only got 8.
Yep, and that's
Uh,
actually one of the goofs that they did for this one because it got because there's no reasoning as to why it should have been. It was only 8 years.
Yeah, they do not provide an explanation for why Robert Johnson got 8 when a standard demon deal is 10. They don't explain that. And they've got a photo here of the last guy who buried this box at the crossroads. So they're gonna
Yeah.
go try to find that dude. Okay, I'm gonna pause it here before we check our cards for a summoning ritual. In the official companion volume for season 2, Eric Kripke says, everything I love about the show Supernatural is encapsulated in the Robert Johnson story. It's a piece of real life American history and folklore. It's an American horror story. It takes place on the dusty back roads of rural America, and it's got great music. Um, so,
Amen to that.
amusingly, say it again.
I said amen to that.
Amen to that. Some great blues. Um, so amusingly enough, the first screenplay Kripke ever tried to write as a teenager was about Robert Johnson. So this was his opportunity to return to that. Okay, so we are looking for a summoning, which
I
I
feel like I
thought
don't
I
feel like I don't have. Now I have a
well,
torture. Oh, wait a minute. Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
you have a summoning. Okay, awesome. I thought I had one, but I am not finding it, so I think I just misremembered.
I
Uh,
do find it I coincidental that it's right next to torture
oh.
on my card. And that's right next to perform an exorcism. I mean, I feel like
Say,
there's a theme going in those
there's a
three.
theme. So yeah, I have perform an exorcism. I have a meta moment or a fourth wall break, but we've already decided we're not going to call it
Yeah.
a meta moment.
Yeah.
And I also have a torture, but yeah, tragically none of those count.
Mm.
Okay, so they have hitting play. They have tracked down George Darrow from his photo
Yeah.
in the tin with the other things to summon a crossroad demon. And this apartment here is this dude is not living high off the hog. So unlike the
Nope.
architect and the doctor. This dude is not doing terribly well for himself financially. Now, amusingly enough, this apartment we're about to see is redressed. It's the loft set from No Exit. So it's the exact same set, they just redressed it. Uh, and they've found this substance in front of the door.
I love this. You went for the wrong shaker.
The shaker, yeah. So it instead of salt, it's black. So they think it's the pepper. It's from the pepper shaker, and he's like, "You two are idiots. It's goofer dust." So Dean confronts this guy, and he's like, "Have you seen hellhounds yet?" Because this dude doesn't want to let them in for some strange reason. He doesn't want to let two strange men into his apartment. Um,
Especially who thought that he dumped pepper outside of his door.
these two are clearly not the brightest bulbs in the box. But he tells them it's goofer dust, and they're like, "You boys think you know something about something, and you don't know about goofer dust." Um, so interestingly enough, it's something that we start to realize that John taught them what they needed to survive, but he didn't teach them everything. There are a lot of things that he appears to have kept from them about hunting and the hunter community. So that's something we're going to talk about more as the series goes on. But what I really love about this, I see your face. You look like you're about to make a comment.
No, I'm keep in mind
Bring it.
I'm racking my brain here because well, one thing that bothered me in this episode
Hmm.
is they seem to take that on blind faith. Sorry, wrong word.
The goofer dust.
Yeah, like they don't seem to go and then do their own research, and that bothers me.
I see where you're coming from. There's always the possibility that they do it off camera. But
Yeah.
it would have taken one line to say, "Hey, I looked into this goofer dust. It's legit." So I see where you're coming from. They could potentially just be based on the assumption the guy is still alive, that it's working. Um, but you're not wrong. To put them in, you're not wrong. They do just kind of say, "Oh, goofer dust, hoodoo, cool." Anyway, so
Yeah, and it's like, especially Sam, who researches
yeah,
everything,
fair point.
who it's not like, it's like, okay, like, he's usually much more, I think the term I'm looking for is speculative. I think I'm saying that correctly. Um, like I'm just surprised he takes that so much. He appears to take it so much at face value.
Yeah, yeah. No, I see where you're coming from, it is something they probably could have spent a line on to address. What I think is kind of interesting about this is, this guy asked to be a talented artist, and he got exactly what he asked for. Now he's dying in poverty, because just because you're talented doesn't mean you end up being wealthy.
Yep.
So we do get a sense that, demon deals are, you've got to be really specific because you get exactly what you wish for and nothing else. Um, so that there's clearly buyer beware here. What I really love about this conversation is how much that George is a mirror for Dean. And Sam says, "You don't really want to die." And he says, "I don't." And we've seen like all season long that Dean's really had something of a death wish going, so it's if you listen to George's dialogue, and especially there's some really meaningful looks here between Sam and Dean as George is talking. But George appears to be feeling some guilt because he summoned the demon for himself, but the demon stayed and
Yep.
continued to make deals. So for George, not only did he damn himself, he damned these other people as well, is his thinking on it. Um,
But then one
all
could
right.
arguably say no one twisted their
Nope.
arm.
Correct. I think you're right. I mean, these people are responsible for their own choices, right?
Hmm.
But this is Dean's MO too, is taking ownership of things that are really not his fault. And George is saying, "I don't want your help. I brought this on myself." And you could trade Dean for George, and the lines would still make sense. So we've
So,
cut now to Evan is our last demon deal. His wife is played by Leah Cairns. So if you've seen Battlestar Galactica or Travelers, you should recognize this actor. She'll be back one more time for Supernatural in a different role. Um, but Julie again makes this very like twisted demonic face that the guy from the motel made. So something is happening here. Um,
yeah,
the
you start to
actor,
wonder
go
if
ahead.
it's like, if it's a timing thing. Like, if you see that, you're getting even closer, even though in the last scene the other guy didn't see it.
Yeah, we're that's a good comment to make, and hang on to it because it's going to come back later in the season.
Oh,
Or
and
not this season, next season.
Dean just kicked in a door.
We've got a door kick. So you know what? I'm going to pause it here. So the boys have showed up now at Evan and Julie's house. The actor who plays Evan, his name is Vincent Gale. And again, he's going to come back two more times as different characters on Supernatural. he also appeared in Van Helsing and Dead Boy Detectives, which a lot of folks in the supernatural fandom have seen Dead Boy Detectives because of an actor who's very important in Supernatural, but not for several more seasons. All right, while we've got this paused, let's take a look at our cards for a door kick. Um, and you know what?
Yes. Nope. One of the voices. Oh, yep. Kick
No.
in a door.
Oh, good for you. Good for you.
Okay.
I had an early lead, but I am not doing so well since then, and I can't honestly say that I'm terribly sad. Go ahead, remember that.
All right. I was gonna say I now have three in a row as
Awesome.
well, and I I think I'm gonna get four if my memory is correct.
Ooh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
don't I
Well,
don't think I'm gonna get five though.
okay. Well, cheers. Enjoy
Gee.
yours.
I say I know you're not joining me.
I will not be joining you. Um, all right. So we're hitting play, and now here come
I
Dean's about
love
to kick in
this.
a second door, and Sam is like, dipshit, it's unlocked.
It's like let's try the door
Please
first.
wiggle the doorknob before we get all kicky happy. Um,
Kinky happy. I love that.
so Evan thinks that these two are here to collect on his deal, and they're like, no, no, we're here to help you. Which and you can see that Dean is not super thrilled about the idea of helping Evan. But here they are. Dean is continuing to be a jerk.
Yeah.
He's been really a dick this entire episode, and he's saying, what did it, did you do this for Viagra? Um, and he starts to get out of Evan that Evan didn't want to be famous. He didn't want to be rich. He didn't want the unattainable partner. Um, that he was desperate. And it's the first look we really get this season for the kind of desperation that can drive
Oh,
a person to make a demon deal. And it's one of the things that I really love about this episode is you see Dean like, wait a minute, you did this to save her? And Evan said his wife was dying, and he traded his soul to the demon to save his wife, and he would do it again. And you can like this,
but I mean,
like
look at Dean though. As you got that half lit thing, and he looks beyond pissed.
he
It,
is furious. Yeah, you're absolutely right that we've got this half shadow lighting for Dean, well spotted. And where because we don't have the same lighting for Sam, so it's
no.
clearly meaningful. And I think that this line here is, I think you did it for yourself, so you wouldn't have to live without her. But guess what? She's going to have to live without you now. And what if she knew how much it cost? What if she knew it cost your soul? How do you think she'd feel? So we've got George as a mirror for Dean, and here we've got Dean because of Evan, it gives him an opportunity to articulate what he's been feeling that he doesn't usually talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like the way this one is written, it gives us a really interesting window into what's going on with Dean. I think this is a great episode. So now Dean's plan is he's going to go summon this demon and he's going to try to work out something for Evan. So the plan is for Sam to stay behind and protect Evan while Dean works out this deal. And Sam is not loving this plan because they
Nope.
both know John did something.
Yep.
Um, and Sam
And he just
confronts
says,
Dean.
"It fits, doesn't it? I'm
Yep,
alive, Dad's dead, and the yellow-eyed demon was involved.
yep. The Colt's gone. Like, we come on. Like that.
My life for his soul." It's like
Yep.
it does not take a rocket scientist to figure
No.
this one out.
No, so this is why Dean has been a raging asshole for the last 7 episodes. That he believes he doesn't deserve to live, and his dad did, and his dad traded himself for Dean.
Mm-hmm.
So like this is just gnawing at Dean.
Yeah.
Um, so we've got a Sammy. We've got Dean at the crossroads. He's summoned a demon. This is Jeanette Sousa, and I think she is amazing. I'm gonna call this Dean checks out a woman. Like he's playing her, but he looks her over twice. Like,
I was like, I mean,
go ahead.
clearly he's not blind to the fact that she's drop dead gorgeous.
Oh yeah, no, she is beautiful. And I love the way this scene is done. I think this actor does such an incredible job with this role because she treads this line where she's both incredibly sexy and absolutely terrifying. And she treads this line so well. Um, so yeah, here's Sam trusting the goofer dust. It's not salt, so we can't call it pouring a salt line, which makes me mad. But we've got the goofer dust. And we're gonna cut back and forth between Sam with Evan and Dean with the Crossroad Demons. So this is gonna hop back and forth a bit. Um, so Dean has started to give this ploy to her that he wants to make a deal for Evan. She starts saying, "No, this is a contract. It's ironclad. There's nothing I can do." But he
Yeah.
says, "I'm willing to trade me. I'm willing to trade myself." And she's like, oh, now this just got interesting. Trade your life for someone else's, like father, like son. So look at Dean's face when he gets confirmation. Like this is great. These two, like this is such a beautiful scene. I love this. Um, and
And his face is all in the dark.
yeah, yeah, this is very dark. Now, one thing as an aside, I'm going to point out here, I feel really bad for this poor actor, Jeanette Sousa, because like you can see their breath. This thing, like it is freezing cold outside, and the actor is in this tiny little black cocktail dress. Like she had to have been just frozen solid. Um, cut back. Now, again,
Yeah.
Sam can't hear the hellhound, so he's depending on Evan to tell him where it is. So they're hiding in the Goofer Dust circle. The doors are rattling. We've got a black screen, still back to Evan and Sam is saying
Yeah.
like, just don't move, just stay in this circle and you'll be safe. Um, Meanwhile, back with Dean and the demon, she realizes he just tried to trick her into getting into a demon trap, and now she mad. Um, and she's like, "Oh no, I enjoy watching your misery." And she just takes this opportunity to just twist the knife in Dean about how much John is suffering in hell. Um, and it's just such a great performance from both of these actors. I mean, this is just delicious. I love this scene. Um,
What I love is you can kind of, I feel like you can, watching Dean's face, at least earlier, it's like Dagnammit, I'm actually annoyed that I'm finding her attractive because I don't want to be, but I am. But oh crap!
But how can you not be? Yeah. Yeah, I don't disagree with you, and and also keep in mind, like this is a vessel she's possessed.
hmm
So this is a human woman who's been possessed by a demon and she is not consenting at
Yeah.
this point. So, I imagine that for all that Dean is a ladies' man, we've talked about this.
Yeah.
He's not interested in non-consensual behavior. So, I imagine his feelings are pretty complex here. Um, so now Dean is standing under this like water tower thing, and we're about to discover he's essentially using himself as bait. But the way these two are circling each other like a dance, it's filmed really well. And so Dean starts to question, like, okay, what are the options here? And she starts to say to him, you know what I can do for you? I can't do anything about Evan. That's a contract. But your dad, I can trade you for
Oh,
Ed.
and look at his face.
Oh
Just,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
he's
Like
suddenly like, ah, crap.
this is tempting to him.
Yeah.
Um, and she's essentially saying everything he believes. He's supposed to be dead. John is supposed to be alive. She's returning things to the natural order. And he gets 10 more years. It's a lifetime. It's a bonus. Like, this is
Mhm.
just putting things back the way they're supposed to be. And you get a cherry on top of the sundae. Like, why would you not do this? And the whole time he's continuing to back away from her, to pull her in under this water tower. And all of a sudden she looks up, and this is the same shot we saw with Meg, with the camera low up along the
Yeah.
body to the trap on the ceiling.
Yep.
So, and we have a demon stuck in a devil trap. So we're going to check our cards for that in just a moment. And now
Did
Dean's got some leverage.
you ever
Go
notice that
ahead.
when Dean's really torn, he blinks a lot?
Blinks a lot. He's a blinker.
Because like I noticed, like when she said that, his eyes started blinking like
Yeah,
crazy. Because
yeah, he's
normally his eyes are very steadfast.
yeah. Amusingly enough, statistically, women blink more than men. Crazy little piece of trivia. I love this effect here
Yeah.
with the invisible dog claws on the hardwood floor. I think that's fantastic. This is an exorcism.
Yeah.
So we're going to check our card for that as well in just a moment. Um, and he starts to read off this exorcism as a means of incentivizing her to go through this deal. And she starts to say, like, no, I can't do this. Meanwhile, as she's fighting, the goofer dust is starting to blow away.
Yeah. Which
Breaks
is
the
like that's one
circle.
of the problems when you use dust. Because anytime anything comes in, things like there's always wind every
Yeah,
single time. At least with salt, it's a little heavier and all of that, so it doesn't blow around quite as much. It's like so
yeah,
much about
it is definitely something we're gonna see a lot in the show. There's a there's an Achilles heel to salt and goofer dust rings. And then the next thing we see is Dean kissing this demon. And she says, this is how we seal the deal.
yeah.
Um, so it's clearly not consensual on Dean's part, because he's like, I don't like to be violated by demon tongue, um, but there's this question here for a moment where she's like, okay, you got what you wanted. Now let me out. And he's eyeing this rosary, like, do I keep doing this exorcism? She's like, funny how the demon is the trustworthy one, that I'm keeping a deal and you're looking at breaking it. Um, but when she climbs out, she's coming back after Evan. So he ends up, you can tell he really doesn't want to leave her loose, but he does reach out and break one of the boards so that she can get out of the broken devil's trap.
Now,
Uh,
can we still call it an exorcism when he didn't complete it?
okay, so you know what? I'm going to go ahead and pause this here because I think there's two questions here. Um, there we go. Didn't want to pause for me. I am prepared to call it an exorcism anytime anyone begins the ritual. 'Cause they're not always going to have an opportunity to finish. If you disagree with me,
No,
we can certainly have that conversation.
as long as that's always as long as that's always the parameter, that as long as it's begun, that's all that needs to happen.
Okay, so we're going to agree on that. Now here, you're you're going to love when I say this.
No, no.
Do we
Go
want
ahead.
to call this torture? Because we saw it with Meg, where they were using the exorcism to compel her to give them information. Like we identified then that exorcisms are painful to the demon. She's clearly like twitching. I could be convinced in either direction.
See, I would not call, when Meg with Meg, at least she was tied down to a chair
Right,
and being thrashed around in the chair.
right.
This woman is just walking around free. Yes, she gets, I hate to say, it's clearly uncomfortable for
Uncomfortable
her.
for her.
So, no, I would not call this torture.
Oh, in a reversal of roles. Okay, so in that case, you know what? And we had a son of a bitch as well. So we're looking for a son of a bitch
Which I
and
have.
a demon stuck in a devil's trap. An exorcism. I have perform an exorcism, but not a torture.
I
Let's
was like,
see here.
I had the torture, but
I did too.
I can't in good conscience call that a
Oh,
torture.
you know what I
And
didn't get was I have Dean checks out or hits on a woman. I didn't give
hold
myself
on,
that
and I
one.
have that one too. Holy crap!
Okay.
So that gives
So,
me three in a. I have okay. I have three in a row going in two different ways. Plus, I have well, I don't know if I have a hard time calling it three in. I have three in a row, but they're not in a row. Does that make sense?
it does. It's fine either way. I have three in a rows. Yeah, and I don't have any of the other things we were looking for. So, all
Actually,
right,
so
well,
do
but I
I.
do have
I just found one, one,
but I do
two.
have
Yeah, I
one.
did. I just found another one.
We are tied in last place. But so that means I get to drink my Crossroad Blues. Yay.
Yay!
Cheers.
Cheers.
Okay. Moving on. Okay, so we're hitting play, and she is telling him how very much John is suffering in hell. And just as he's about to just put a beat down on him, she smokes out. And now we've got the poor, lady
Mhm.
who got possessed, who's just like, how? Like, can you imagine that? Just waking up in the middle of nowhere with a strange man? How terrifying that has to be. So, um, we cut to the boys in the Impala. Dean
Mhm.
has clearly off camera shared with Sam what the Crossroad Demon told him.
Yep.
And he says, how am I supposed to live with that? The thought of John in hell suffering after everything that he did to try to catch the yellow-eyed demon that killed their mother. Um, his his legacy is rotting in hell. And this you can just see, like, we've got this sort of thousand-yard stare from Dean. He is
Yep.
not handling this news well.
Nope.
Um, and Sam is trying to say to him, like, all the people we've saved, all the people Dad saved, that's the legacy. That's why we keep doing this. And it's something that Dean said to Sam back in um, Wendigo. So he's clearly, what's happened to him has changed his thinking
Yep.
in the past season. I think we can call this a heartfelt broman.
Yes.
And we end on this question, like, Dean, you you weren't gonna take that demon up on her offer, were you? And Dean just turns the radio on. He's not answering that question.
Which to me is
Um,
an answer in and of itself.
it is an answer, yeah. So the episode ends with something that we don't typically see. There are a couple in the series, not many. So we started with then and now, and here at the end we have soon. And it's some great shots of some upcoming episodes. So, um, apparently the issue is that in overseas markets, the length of the episode is the timing needs to be very, very specific, and it's a different length of time than in American television. So they most episodes they made these soon segments so that overseas markets could edit them to get the exact length episode that they needed. But because of the way advertising works here in the US, they almost never showed them unless the episode was short. So, and this soon segment is almost 2 minutes. So this episode was quite short. Um, and
That is
there
our
we
episode.
are. That is our episode.
So we have to look for the heartfelt bro moment.
We do. We have a heartfelt Broman,
And
and
which
a son of a bitch.
eh, oh, we had a Sammy earlier, didn't we?
We did have a Sammy, which, you know what, I did not check off either. You are absolutely right. So we've got a Sammy, which gives
And
me four in a row. And if
ooh.
somebody had just taken 2 seconds to hit Sam in the head, I would have five in a row. Um,
Oh man, I honestly thought someone said seriously at some point this episode.
I did not catch it. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying I didn't catch it.
I I didn't I just in my head somebody did, but I didn't see it either. So
Hmm.
it just I'm incorrect.
7, 8.
Uh,
Okay, so that gives me four in a row with a total of eight.
so then you are definitely winning with the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 10 in total but I have my largest is 3 in a row.
3. All right. Well,
I mean, if
you're
I was gonna say if that woman was sufficiently tortured, I would have had 4, but
mm,
I can't in good conscience count
all right. Well, here here's my
that.
last one. Mm. All right. So give me one thing you loved and one thing you hated.
uh well, one thing I did not like was that Gopher Dust because there's just too many things that just don't work for me with that.
I know that bothered you.
That bothered me a lot. I love the camera shooting in this one.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
There were
Absolutely.
so many good just shots, angles, just lighting, everything I thought was
Yeah.
amazing. And because we know I'm obsessed with it, so many damn good one liners.
Yeah, well, Steve Boyum can't take credit for the dialogue, but he is a hell of a director. We're gonna see other episodes directed by him in the future, and they're always gorgeous.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, just everything. Just there was not a scene that did not have an amazing right from the start in the blues club,
Yeah,
like just so much good camera work.
I agree. I agree. I think it's really beautifully shot. For me, I know I talked about it a lot already, but the whole scene between Dean and the Crossroad Demon is just amazing. Like it's incredibly well written. The performances from both actors are fantastic. It's shot beautifully. And there's a ton, an absolute ton that we're going to see again. So just kind of file that scene away. That there's some stuff I'm going to bring up later in the season that harkens back to that scene, and I just think it's gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
Um, for me, and I do love this episode a lot. So this is a nitpicky thing. The only thing I could come up with that I really hated, because you're right, I didn't think about the goofer dust being kind of a, oh yay, goofer dust, I now that you've mentioned it, I think about it, but it didn't jump out at me at the time. What bothered me is for the doctor when Sam and Dean are talking to the maid, Dean pulls this photo off the fridge of 3 white girls at a dive bar in the middle of nowhere. Like and they're like mm, they appear as the way that they're dressed, they appear to be like middle class suburban ladies. And this barn is a one-room shack at a gravel crossroad in the middle of nowhere. Like it just doesn't make any sense to me that those particular women based on the timing, they're in their early to mid 30s, are in this shack of a barn. It looks like it's in a bayou somewhere.
I was gonna say that photo should have been taken just example like a bar in Midtown Manhattan.
Well, I mean, they need the connection to Lloyd's.
Oh, I know,
So,
but I'm just saying, like, then the picture should have been very different. The way that picture
yes,
was shot
correct.
looked looked like a bar in Midtown Manhattan.
I agree. Yeah.
The
Like the inside, I mean, it's like the TARDIS. The inside don't match the outside.
Yeah,
I agree. They appear to be at sort of a swanky ball from that photo and the way that they're dressed in it, and it just doesn't make any sense to me.
yeah.
All right. Well. On that note, that is last
And
call.
I'm going to
Thanks.
have one more little sip on last
Oh,
call.
enjoy, enjoy. I will not.
I know you won't.
Thanks so much for coming along with us for the ride. If you like what we're doing here, be sure to tell your friends. Please also like our videos and subscribe to our channel. Makes it easier for other people to find us too. We
Yes,
love
and
hearing from,
please tell in the comments, put what you want us to talk about in bonus
yeah.
episodes because we love, love, love making our bonus episodes. Sorry, Liz, I did not
And
mean to cut you off.
carry on, it's all right. And so speaking of bonus episodes, I will be doing some bonus content for the first two of the 17 tie-in episodes that go along with Supernatural. The first of which is called Nevermore, and it takes place between Crossroad Blues and the next episode. So that will be coming. Keep your eye out for that. But absolutely, we do not have very many topics in our Ask Jared jar. So help us out, please. You know,
Yes,
we don't know what to talk about if you don't tell us what you're interested in hearing. So also, comment on in addition to commenting on our videos, as Lynn mentioned, you can also send us an email at hunterfuelpodcast@gmail.com and follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Hunter Fuel Podcast. In our next episode, we will be watching season 2, episode 9, Croatoan, when Sam is alone in a closet with a pretty nurse. Until
ooh,
then, be safe, everybody. Bye
bye
bye.
bye.